Welcome to lecture number 6 in our project development, in which we're talking about PLC and HMI development for a street light traffic system. In the last video, just as a quick reminder, we've created a secondary screen from which we're going to control certain parameters on the PLC, and this code is going to be written by the HMI to the PLC in order to change the values of our timers. So here's that blank screen. Today we're going to be working on the screen. We're going to be writing certain tags back to the PLC, like I've said, and we're going to start right now. Before we get started with today's video, we just wanted to quickly point out all the great content we've been releasing on the Solus PLC YouTube channel. And this includes industrial automation, PLC programming, as well as HMI development. And if you enjoy this type of content, we would really appreciate it if you could click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell in order to receive the latest and greatest content we will be posting to the channel. Alright, so before we move on to that screen, one thing I did want to do is I wanted to select these two polygons, and what I typically do is I use the same layout for the top header, and this is going to be essentially to, so first of all, I'm going to group this, and this is going to be essentially to put in a title for our screen. So I'm just going to bring this to the front, bring this arranged to the front to make the same exact layout, but this is going to be slightly less high. Let's look at this. We're going to go into properties, and instead of being height 80, we're going to calculate essentially 2 pixels from the top and the bottom, making this quite a bit smaller. So let's see, half size is going to be a little bit too much still. I think 36 or maybe 32 is going to look a bit better. Let's try 32. 32 I think looks okay, and this one therefore needs to be, as you remember, 32 plus 3, which comes out to 35 in order to have that nice shadow. In fact, we're also going to select both of those items. And actually, no, we're going to align this based on the bottom values, and this should be at 7, and this needs to be at 7. So remember, the reason why it's at 7 is because the one behind it, the shadow, is actually protruding by a single pixel. Therefore, in order to have 8 pixels from the lighter rectangle, we're going to be spaced off by 7. Once they are grouped, essentially you always have the dimensions of the entire region that's covering all the elements. So that looks pretty good. The thing that we do need to add is, let's go into Objects, Drawing, and Text. And then I'm going to type in here Main System Overview. And let's make that size 14 just to see how it looks. I think that looks okay. I don't like the text to be completely black, so I'm just going to make it a shade lighter. I think it's not perfect, but it's definitely okay for this. I think that misaligned something. Let's see here. So one polygon is going to be this. So we need to effectively position in the center, and then let's see here. We're going to position like that. So that's still that's moving the polygon, which I don't want, and I'm just going to align that a little bit better. Let's see here. So a lot of times, depending on how you select your objects, it's going to align all of them, and we certainly do not want that. Now that looks okay. I don't think, like I said, it's perfect, but it's definitely acceptable. Let's go into the other screen that we've created, which is going to be under this system control. Just double clicking that tag, and we're going to paste this in. However, I do want to position it also at 7 and 7. Let's see here. So I'm going to select that bar, and I'm going to move that to 7 and then Y7. And we certainly need to modify the width. Let's see here. So instead of 784, we need to be at 384. Let's see, that looks okay. And the other one is also going to be at 387. So we're going to give it exactly the same dimensions as the other one. And we're going to position the title in the center. So this is going to be System Control. That looks pretty good. I think we're going to save the sign and then realign once again. Let's see here. Perfect. All right, so the next step is going to be adding a exit button. So here I'm going to click on Object, Display Navigation, and Close. Remember that a pop-up is essentially a screen which is layered on top of the main window. Therefore, it needs to be closed. Otherwise, it kind of stays there, which is not something that we want. And we're going to label that as Exit. and change that to the same size that we've been using all over the place. And I do want to change the comment to be exactly the same. So the more you can reapply what has been created previously, the better. And then your system also looks quite a bit nicer because everything looks exactly the same as if it was made together. Now, we do want to control both lights. So what I'm going to create is essentially an object which is going to hold a couple of things. So it's going to be a drawing, it's going to be a rectangle. You don't necessarily need to hold your objects within those, but it does look a bit nicer. Let's see here, our rectangle. We can make it the same. Actually, let's cancel out of this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse this navigation bar in order to create another pane, and I'm going to just very roughly reposition it. Actually, let's not do that. So let's first realign that, and it looks like it's aligned already. And this group ends at, so height is 35 and it starts at 7, so 35 plus 7, which gives us 42 plus another 7. So let's see here, so 42 plus 8 is going to be this. Okay, so now we're going to delete this title. Actually, let's use this title. We're just going to reposition some of these rectangles, and once again, it doesn't need to be perfect. What we're going to do is do a little bit of trial and error. I certainly want this rectangle to be essentially half the screen minus 8. So let's think about the math a little bit here. So if the display width is currently 400, I want 2 screens. I want 2 of these layouts for 1 of each lights, and then I do want the spacing to be 8 pixels from either side. So I essentially need to do 400. Let's pull up the calculator here. So I do need to do 400 minus 8 times 3, which is going to be 24, minus 24 divided by 2, and it's going to be 188. So let's see here. So in our screen, we're going to open this group, and this is going to be 188. And height 170, that looks okay. And this is going to be, let's see, properties. So 188 plus 3, 191, and then 173 to make it exactly the same. That looks pretty good, actually. I like the way that is positioned. And then we can align this one to the right side, of course, and that looks like we don't have that looks like we don't necessarily have 8 pixels in between. Let's see here. So the width is 180. Well, it doesn't look so because we have 3 pixels worth of shadow, actually. So that, I think that looks okay. Let's see, and then I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. That looks like 2 and 1, perfect. And then we're going to align this a little bit, so it needs to look exactly the same since we have the same widths and heights. And I a lot of times do this by just my eye. With experience, you should be able to figure this out and how it all looks. I think that looks pretty decent. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this title and I'm going to paste this in, and of course realign here, realign bottom, up and then center. And I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay, system control. So instead of system control, this is going to be light 1. And this is going to be our light 2, light 2. Okay, that looks good. And we have 2 distinct values which we want to change in our light system. So let's see here. So objects. This is going to be a numeric string, and then this is going to be input enable, numeric input enable. And let's see, since our width inside of this rectangle is going to be 170, and we want, let's say, 20 pixels off either side, I'm going to go into common with 170, and then I'm going to subtract 40, so that's going to be 130 pixels. And let's see here, copy paste this in. Just going to align that. It looks kind of weird because this is not the same height, so I'm going to extend this out. I'm going to realign this to the center. This is going to slide down just a little bit, and then I'm going to effectively make this quite a bit longer. And I think my buttons are not in that group, so I'm going to delete them. I'm going to go back in, and then I'm going to paste them in so that I could see what's going on. And let's see here. So I need to space out exactly by 20 pixels from the top here, and this is going to be a little bit smaller. Okay, I think that looks decent. So let's see here. So if we look at this rectangle, the height has become 201. Let's make that 200 just for simplicity. I'm going to double click and then change the height to be 200. And okay, then the other one, we're going to go into properties, 203. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete this. I'm going to double check this, that everything is aligned. Let's see here. Everything is aligned within, and then I'm going to copy paste this in. I'm going to align to this side, and then I'm going to select both of them and align to the bottom. So this is light 2. Now the numeric display is going to definitely change the value, but we also need, the numeric input enable is going to definitely change the value, but I also want to create a numeric display. Let's see here. So objects, numeric and string, numeric display. But we also need some kind of a label. We need to add some labeling. So let's see here. So connections. Before we do this, yeah, let's just remove that for now. I need to add some labels above these. So this is going to be green timer. And it's going to be smaller since the main title is 14. This title is going to be 10. Let's see here. And we're going to slide that a bit lower. And of course, this needs to have a yellow timer. Let's see here. That's a bit too much. Let's see. Green looks good. And there's going to be a yellow as well. Let's see that everything is aligned. Let's select everything, align, and then change this to a green. And I'm going to just zoom in order to see the positioning. So here the positioning is definitely different than here. So here we have 2 pixels on the top, and I want this to be, let's see here, like that. And this like that, and this is going to be yellow. Hit apply, okay. And then let's recenter that and then save in order to go back to the main layout. This needs to be resized once again. Let's see, so that's about so. And we're at 218. Let's see here. So properties 221. Apply, and this goes down just a little bit. And now our display settings, let's see here. So we have the button, which is going to be starting at Y275, and the height is going to be 64. So that's 339. So 339 plus 8, let's do 348, see how that looks. That looks okay. And then we're going to delete this once again. I'm going to copy paste. Actually, let's not paste that in. Let's finalize the display. Since here we do need a display, so object, numeric and string, numeric display. I'm going to make it roughly the same size and then correct that in here. So width is going to be 130, height 64. Is the height 64 or is the height different? Let's see here. Height 58. So the height is going to be 58. Properties, common. Height is going to be set to 58. And let's align both of them together. And top. and then I'm going to have another one. And now we're done with light 1. We are going to copy paste this once again. We're going to align to the right side, and then we're going to align to the bottom. The other thing that we didn't do is change the display background. Let's see here, background color. Let's do this kind of grayish. That looks okay. We're going to save this, and now we need to start linking the tags. So properties of the numeric display. We do want to get the value of the PLC, so I'm going to go back in the PLC code, and here we're going to read the final value. So remember that we are changing essentially the HMI tag, but we want to read the actual timer tag in order to confirm what's actually been written to the PLC. So what I'm going to create is another set of outputs, which are going to go from the PLC to the HMI. So let's see here. So this is going to be another move instruction, and you can read those. Actually, let's just read them directly. We're not going to create another instruction. We're just going to read these light1_green t.pre. Let me show you how to do that instead of going through that entire process. So we're going to refresh the PLC in order to be able to see the latest tag. So I'm going to refresh all folders, and that should refresh my PLC. Let's go into online, and here we need to find the program which is going to be related to this. So here, streetlight system, and within the top level, I believe, actually, let's see here. Did we create that? We should have the tags. Let's go double check this. So this is a tag which is going to be controller scoped. So light 1 green is controller scoped. That is my mistake. Let's go back to the PLC. Light 1, let's see here. So light 1 green, light 1_green_t, light 1 green, light 1_green_t. Okay, so this is going to be the preset, and we're going to show it like that. Let's just double check that that's correct. I don't like the way that's displaying, so we do need to change this, and I believe we can change this in the settings. Let's see here, disable highlight when object has focus. Let's see. In case you haven't noticed what I did, there's a function in the display settings which essentially allows you to highlight if you're working with a mouse or if you're touching certain objects. It's going to highlight the object in question. I usually disable that feature. So the green tag is definitely coming back. Let's just copy that. So let's see here. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste this in. So this is going to be light 1 yellow. Apply. This is going to be light 2 green, and this is going to be light 2 yellow. So let's see here, light 2 yellow, and those are going to be the 4 tags. That being said, we're not necessarily changing anything. What we need to add as well is, remember that we have this is the numeric display, but we also have a numeric input enabled. So properties, and this connection is going to be the value, which is going to not change this tag, but it's going to change the other HMI tag. So let's go back here, and I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to edit the rung in order to be able to copy, and then I'm going to paste that tag in here. Let's see. So HMI indent 0 is going to be the first one. Then we need to make sure that we select the numeric input enable, properties, connections. This is going to be 1. And then here we're going to do 2. 2, hit apply. And then last but not least, we have a third tag, which is going to be number 3. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's save the display, let's play it. And what you'll notice is that now we can enter certain values. So let's say we want to enter 4 9s, and we want to hit enter. That should take the value, and So it says problem writing int dint 0. Let's see, default. We don't have a description. So let's troubleshoot this. So let's stop the display and let's see what's going on. Display, numeric input, enable properties. And yeah, I think those tags are actually local. So those, the problem is, I'll tell you exactly what the problem is. So the problem is that this tag, as you will see, is street light system scoped versus the other tags are controller scoped. So we do need to browse through really quickly. Let's go back into our tag selector, and from here we should be able to find those tags that we're working with. That's the problem, is that that tag doesn't exist at the controller level. So let's see here, instead of online, we're going to go into HMI dint, and here we need to write this tag. So notice that the tag has completely changed. I'm going to copy this in, hit apply, and then I'm going to go through and essentially change all of these connections. So this is going to be 1. And I want you to see these mistakes. That's why this is essentially unedited. You will make a lot of these typos, and then you're going to have to troubleshoot and figure out what's going on with your system. And that's the reason why you are essentially a developer, not just somebody who types in code that has been given to you. So this is going to 0, 1, 2, 3. Hit apply, and let's save this and double check what's going on. So here I can type in, let's say 4 9s, press enter. And what we need to do effectively is double check that we are writing to the correct tags. So once again, you can make the mistake of writing to the wrong tags. As you can see, this one has changed, which is the correct value to 9, let's say 99. This value has changed, and then for light number 2, let's do the same test. So this 9989, and then this is going to be 2356. And as you can see, the tags are writing correctly. We have a neat little screen, which actually seems to be a lot bigger than I was hoping for. Let's see, let's close this out and let's reopen it once again. So yeah, so the screen is going to be smaller. It's going to be at the center of the screen. We're going to position it accordingly. Of course, we need to change this to light number 2. Hit apply, hit OK. Everything looks okay, aligned just like I would expect, and the functionality is there. That's the most important one. You can definitely change some of the colors, some of the way this is displayed. I would definitely play with this if I was practicing and if it was a real world HMI, but the functionality is definitely there, and we are controlling the system as we would expect. Thank you guys so much for watching my content. If you have any questions on this topic, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. And if you can spend 5 seconds of your time liking as well as sharing that video if you've enjoyed it, that would mean absolutely the world to me. And if you have any suggestions for the channel, what kind of hardware, software I should be covering, then make sure to leave that down there as well. See you next time. Take care. Bye.